Hey everyone, it's Larry Benet, Chief Connector, co-founder of Saying. I'm very excited to introduce you to Ken Dunn, the visionary CEO of both Reader's Legacy and the CEO of Next Century Publishing. So let's just talk at a high level. So if someone's an author, an entrepreneur, a speaker, and they want to get their message out in a bigger way, what are some just best practices, from your perspective, that's working really well in today's business world? Social media, all these things. How do people break through the clutter to create bestseller status?
As we've spent the last year, Larry, building readerslegacy.com and getting it launched, I've had a chance to go out and network with some of the biggest players in the publishing industry.
Right.
And as I've talked to people, I've been asked that question in different forms a lot. And reflecting on it, I realized that it really comes down to an unadulterated focus on the 4 C's, I say. And the 4 C's are really simple. The first is your content.
Okay.
I think in the new social media world that we're living in today, content is now being overlooked. I mean, how many people do you know that have written what they call ebooks that are maybe 5,000 or 6,000 word documents that they say are published, and they give them away to capture names on their list?
Sure.
And there are a plethora of people that are writing things, and because they have massive followings, they say that they're selling thousands of books, but it's really not the same. Have you ever read a book? I know you have, because I know you're such an avid reader.
I've read 2.
Yeah,
2
exactly.
books.
But the last time you read a book that was a true page-turner, that you couldn't stop reading?
Right, you stay up all night reading it.
Yeah, like Brenda Burchard's Manifesto. Like, I read that book page after page after page, and I just couldn't stop reading it.
Right.
I've never met Brendan, and I don't have any reason to endorse him, but that's a really good example of what I'm talking about. Content needs to be re-examined. It's been overlooked for the last 10 years.
Okay.
If you want to create a full-time income off books, the first C is content. You've got to spend lots of money on editors, lots of money on reviews. Print hundreds.
By the way, you had a good yesterday at your conference. You talked about your book that's just coming out now. You've spent a couple of years refining.
Exactly. Spent more than $25,000 just in editing on that book.
So you said if you're just going to write or talk out your book, either way, just write or just talk, and then afterwards let someone go edit, right?
That's right,
best practice
exactly.
tip?
Yeah, without a doubt. And the second C is cover.
Okay.
Your cover has to be designed to sell your book. You don't get a second chance to make a first impression, which you know is the master connector.
Right.
There is a real art to creating a cover that is saleable. You have to start by looking at books that are selling right now, but you really need to get somebody involved that has experience doing that. The third C, for anybody that wants to sell a lot of books, best practices-wise, is go out and develop real credentials. There are too many people out there now that...
So don't go buying credentials. No.
Exactly. That's exactly what I'm saying. If you're, especially in the nonfiction world, if you're going to write a nonfiction book, you can't just write a book and expect people to sell it. They want to buy books from people that have real credentials, real successes.
Right.
And then, of course, the last one, which I follow you on social media, so you know better than I, it's the community.
Right.
If you do the first 3 well, then the 4th C, the community. So the best practice in that is to get on social medias every day and add value.
What's the single biggest mistake entrepreneurs make when publishing their books in terms of marketing to get it out?
They rush it. They go too fast. Especially with first-time authors, they have this insatiable desire to get the book out and to start selling it, and they don't realize they're shooting themselves in the foot. I spent 3.5 years editing the book alone, and then I spent another year giving away more than 1,000 copies just to get feedback.
Yeah.
I end up with a book that's finally launching in October, The Greatest Prospector, with 16 endorsements. 7 of them are New York Times bestselling authors. Publishers Weekly has given me a trade reference for the book. I took 4 years to get the book to that point.
It's interesting. Spencer Johnson, who wrote Who Moved My Cheese.
Yeah, amazing book.
Yeah, so he participated in one of our mastermind groups, and I said, before you leave, you've got to share. And what's interesting is his process is very similar. A lot of editing, a lot of feedback, a lot of editing, more feedback out to more people. Come back until he feels he gets it right, where the book is great content, and then off it flies out the door with great word of mouth. And
you know what? The amazing thing about today's world is I know that this video will be seen by thousands of people because of who you are. I know that I've just mentioned in passing that I've spent almost 50 grand on this book that's coming out here, and so a lot of your viewers are going to say, well, what if you can't afford to do that?
Yeah.
Well, that's where social media helps.
Yeah.
There's Alan Lau up in Canada built a website called Wattpad. There's over 50 million people that are crowd writing and editing books.
Yeah.
You build an account on Wattpad, you can get your whole book edited, and you can get it written, you can get feedback in real time on it.
I think Guy Kawasaki crowdsourced a lot of his last book.
Exactly.
Asking for feedback and stuff like that. I've seen a lot of the top authors actually go to their communities and ask for feedback.
And when we're doing a cover for somebody,
yeah.
we give them 5 different covers, and we tell them to go onto Facebook and get feedback on
yeah.
it. And even on our new website, Reader's Legacy, this is a whole environment where authors can post parts of their books, get feedback from their followers,
yeah.
post other parts of their books, get more feedback.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is, you don't have to spend tens of thousands of dollars, but you can still get the same quality of book done.
What's the best websites to learn more about you, your publishing company, Reader's Legacy? Where's the best place to go?
KenDunn.org is a conglomerate of everything that I'm involved in, my consulting, my books, my company, and of course, readerslegacy.com.
Awesome. This is Larry Benet. Until we connect again, may you connect and grow rich.